on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job, had second hands. Moms bounced on old man. So then we moved to Shallon Land. A young youth, you're rocking the go-to. Low goose, only way I begin to G-York was drunk.
Have you heard the good news?
What's the good news?
What am I supposed to say, Jesus? Well, since we've been on the air, there's been bad news and more bad news, and then followed by maybe a little bit of good news. The bad news is that Sci-Fi let the Expanse go, and then already ruined it. It might be picked up by Amazon for a 4th season.
Really?
And this is after a 100,000 and counting signature petition by viewers to Amazon or basically whoever. And here's the thing. If you put, I guess, we are people who are desperate. We are a desperate people. And so it's hard to look cool when you're asking for help.
Yes.
But like there's a couple different petitions and they're all like, please, just somebody, please. Oh, please put my show back on. Please. Netflix, Amazon, whoever. Netflix is like, no, we're not doing that. And good.
Right?
I wouldn't want this to be a Netflix show.
No.
I don't want that. Amazon, on the other hand, who already distributes it through Prime or, whatever. I think you can watch it for free on Prime.
Yeah, I think
so. But they definitely sell individual episodes. Looks like the most likely candidate, and they are currently, supposedly, according to Variety, who doesn't lie.
Right.
They have a lot of things, a variety, but they don't lie about this kind of thing, I think, has said that this is in talks.
Okay, well, that's
Amazon
great.
has had no comment. In fact, they declined to comment.
Well, because they want to keep it all under wraps.
Well, that's
probably.
not a no. Has any kid who's asked for something from
That's
their parents,
true.
Are we going to Disney World? Yes or no?
Say
we'll
nothing.
See. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not a no.
No.
It's not a denial. So, yeah, it is definitely in talks. What has to happen? I don't know. I always wondered what the deal was with it being, quote-unquote, too expensive, because it's like the Alcon Entertainment Group is a production company, film and television production company, that produces The Expanse, and they pay for the whole thing, as far as I understand. They're not getting any network money for it. Sci-Fi's, pays to have the show on their
network,
their service, their network, whatever. So that, I guess, is too expensive for them. But it's not. There is no material investment on the part of a network, as far as I understand, without understanding this at all.
Right.
It's just licensing.
Okay.
And so if you are already, and plus, it's not, Universal, NBC Universal is the whole Sci-Fi parent company, and they don't have the streaming rights to the show.
Right.
So they have first air rights on Sci-Fi, and then as far as syndication or extra streaming revenue, that just goes to somebody else, wherever the deal is cut. So I think the idea is Amazon clearly has some kind of deal already.
Right.
Would you like to just pay yourself instead of paying us, to get the rest of this out there?
Absolutely.
And I think that's where they're going with that. So
okay. Fingers crossed.
Yep. And it was announced right before, the 6th episode came out?
Okay.
Which was, don't say okay, you've seen it. Which was a big turning point for the show and was just a huge, lots of pieces moving, lots of set pieces. That's exactly when you want to cancel a show. Nice work.
Right.
Nice work. It's like watching Star Wars, and as soon as they escape from the Death Star, being like, I've had enough. This is good.
There's no more story here.
What? Yeah, you're missing a lot there. So what's your thoughts, opinions on this?
I'm excited. I think it's a good thing that Amazon is in talks, and I think it's hopeful, and I'm excited to hopefully see a season 4 out of The Expanse, because I love that show.
Yep. I can't help but feel that there are more important things to worry about in the world.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Of course there are. But, yeah, as far as like getting those little small things squared away, it's a step in the right direction.
Yep.
It's a step in the right direction for sure. We want to take you in the right direction in terms of transitions. Listener, we are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
And we're here on a very special day. What day is it? I don't know. It's just special.
Oh, okay.
Every day's special. When more Expanse is in the offing. No, we're here to provide a review of the new superhero film du jour, Deadpool 2.
Yep.
No catchy subtitle.
No. surprising.
Seems a little lazy to me. We'll talk about that later. Also, news. Lots going on in the world of the nerd, and so we'll do another kind of news blitz to try to get through as much of it as we can, because while we took a little break, a lot of things went down.
Yep.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about something real fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
We talk a lot about and we have seen a lot of these. The new thing for a genre film is nothing's an indie anymore. Even if you're doing Deadpool, a character who up to this point, or his movie 2 years ago, nobody knew who it was.
Sure.
And so you bring them on and you throw them out there, and often, actually not really in that case, because Tim Miller, who was a former VFX guy, and this is his first feature film, nice debut. Mm-hmm. What you do now is you take somebody who's hot, up and coming, is directed like an indie darling, and then instead of them just trying to work their way up to Fast and the Furious sequel, here you go. Here's your chance. $250 million. Show me some dinosaurs, man.
Right.
And we've talked a lot about how that doesn't work out very well.
No.
And a lot of these big films, what does the director do, really? I mean, a lot of the work is given over to the effects supervisors, to the second unit guy, to the previs and design, and how do you tell a Blue, the virtual dinosaur, to do this and that? You don't.
Right.
You're just kind of keeping Chris Pratt happy on the set.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the art? You don't need an artisan. But, those artisan touches can be put in there, certainly, while you are doing the business of making a tentpole film. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these guys, in my opinion, and I think you've agreed with me in the past, don't have it. And I've said guys because we're talking about your Colin Trevorrows. We're talking about your Gareth Edwards, your Jordan Vogt Roberts, these guys who made one kind of semi-interesting movie come in and make a monster movie, and it's like...
It's okay.
Yeah. It's fine. I
doesn't
like the
blow your hair back.
Monster punching parts, which they really had nothing to do with. Well, we don't apply that enough, I think, to women.
Wow.
That
was a turn.
In this starting segment of the show, I want to go after Ava DuVernay.
Wow.
I don't think she's that good.
That bold words.
And I
have
mean
been
it
spoken.
in the same. Well, the rain falls on the unjust and the other unjust alike, and I mean that in the way of that. I mean for other people, Trevorrow, whoever, in that they just don't have a lot of experience. They don't have enough experience. Mm-hmm. Lots of people make one great movie because they've planned it their whole life. Their second movie sucks, and then they take a lot of time to develop, vocabulary and a language as a filmmaker, and they make it to some new plateau or new heights. And I'm not sure that she's gotten there just yet.
Okay.
I think she has the advantage of being an individual and unique voice, and I think and I hope that she is more, and I use this in an Urban Dictionary way and not necessarily, I'll just say it. She's more woke.
Okay.
And I don't mean it necessarily in a social way. I mean that she is more aware of the opportunities that she's got. You look at a guy like Colin Trevorrow and you read the interviews with him, and it's clear that he always knew that he was going to be offered a $250 million movie.
Right.
Not because he worked really hard and went, I've done it. I've trained with mountain ninjas and bathed under the ice-cold waterfall, and I know that I'm worthy of this. He always knew that he was going to be directing a huge movie because his head couldn't fit under that waterfall. And I don't think that's what's going on with her. I just don't think that she has yet reached a level where she should be taking care of stuff like this, like at this tier.
Okay.
So first of all, did you know that she was a publicist basically for Fox and in the entertainment industry?
No, I did not know
that. And I don't know about her education. She might have gone to film school. That doesn't really matter.
Okay.
A lot of great directors didn't. A lot of bad directors did, vice versa. And at some point, she was dissatisfied with that. And she's like, "I'm make movies." And so she went out and she made like 2 or 3 kind of well thought about independent movies that feature people of color, and which is why you probably don't know about them. But they were kind of gotten a little buzz up for her. And then she did Selma, which I feel like you see a lot of people renting Selma. I feel like it's really high on Rotten Tomatoes.
It was really high buzz when it first came out.
I feel like it's kind of safe from criticism. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does anybody want to say something bad about Selma?
No.
To be fair, didn't see it, so I'm
didn't
part of the
see it
problem.
either.
I'm absolutely part of the problem. And so now it's time to do Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
And Wrinkle in Time was like really bad. And like, how much of that is her fault? How much of it is Disney? I don't know. But,
Right.
you know, if in my example of taking somebody who has an original vision and bringing them in and putting them in the machine, they make the machine run better or at least smell nice, like lilacs or something like that, right? And she hasn't done that. And so now she's going to do the New Gods film.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see if that goes forward. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, do you have any thoughts about the kind of dangerous ground that I'm treading on?
Well, I mean...
Why can't we take it to her? We've taken it to a lot of people.
We have. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could kind of lay it at her feet that A Wrinkle in Time wasn't very successful. I unfortunately did not see that film either. So
Yeah, but why didn't you see it? Because
I guess I
wasn't very
wasn't
good.
very excited about it,
Yeah.
even though I read the book and I liked the book.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
She did that documentary 13th
Okay.
about it's kind of both about slavery and about the prison industrial complex, basically.
Okay.
Which I thought was okay. I thought it was informative.
Mm-hmm.
I could have got all that information from a Wikipedia article, probably.
Oh boy.
And I thought it was very glitzy, but otherwise kind of empty.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It had a lot of style and not a lot of substance.
Sure.
So I'm a shrug. This is my shrug. You can't hear it on a microphone. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle of my shoulders. So I don't know.
Not great for her then.
Well, I mean, like all these people that we're not saying,
They're
I
terrible.
want you to leave Hollywood. I'm just saying I want to see more and better.
Right.
Except for Trevor, I think he's dead to me. He's going to do Jurassic Park 6 or whatever, and it's like, take it.
Great.
Yeah. So anyway, no more talking about that on the show, but we'll be talking about.
I wanna shoot,
Oh,
baby.
here we go.
Every goddamn time.
Feliz Navidad, bitcherinos. Mika, I thought you bought traps.
No. What's in a Deadpool trap?
A mirror?
Nice.
Hello, an artiste is on stage.
How about a deep fried gay joke?
No, thanks. I already ate. That's my laugh. Those count for me. This used to be fun.
What's up, Wade?
My box office bitchery. Wait, I used that one already. Yeah, I had a question about that. There were a few gags in Deadpool 2 that were less than fresh. I do the douche jokes around here summer's eve. Are you going to review my new masterpiece or what?
Later in the show, be patient.
Oh, I'll be patient. Okay, I was kind of expecting a doctor joke there.
Yeah, like I'm so patient, I need an assless gown.
Two things. Number one, I already have the gown, but thanks. Number two, healthcare isn't a joke in Canada. All right. Back in the box, and we'll see you after the news. It's all right. Senior Wentz's cutting-edge reference.
Next up, Topo Gijo.
Killer Ed Sullivan. Next up, news. So, like we said, we talked about The Expanse, and we'll definitely be covering The Expanse as hopefully more news can be heard about that going forward. Did you hear about this?
What?
The Lego Movie 2 has a title.
It does.
It is The Lego Movie 2, the second part.
Somebody thought really hard about that one.
Yeah, it should have been the second
Evansville.
piece.
I agree.
Do you say Lego part? When you step on something, you go, this goddamn Lego part. No.
Peace.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that's coming out next year. We don't really know anything about it. I think they're going to try to run off of what happened last year. Well, remember? Okay, it was last year. Remember the last movie? It was a long
I do
time
remember
ago.
the last
It's actually
movie.
2 Lego features ago after Ninjago and Batman. But at the end, the Duplos invade or whatever because
Right.
his sister is playing with him or something.
Uh-huh.
I think they're going to keep going with that in kind of a Toy Story-esque kind of way.
Okay.
And so she'll be on the real people side.
Sure.
And on the other side, of course, never ever get tired of him. Human Deadpool, crisp, Rat will be back. So we'll have to see him there too.
Okay.
More information on that as it comes out. Did you know that Jake Gyllenhaal is in talks to play Mysterio for Spider-Man Homecoming 2?
I did not know that.
We don't know anything really beyond that. We know that he's up for it. We're not sure if he's the only villain. Personally, I would have thought Vulture. I don't think you can do a whole Vulture movie. And they did a whole Vulture movie.
Yeah, they did.
Well, they had the Shocker in there, kind of.
Right.
And the Prowler or whatever Donald Glover's guy turns into
Right.
one day.
Right.
So I think that the villain acceleration is something that, for better or for worse, has always been there in Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they should think about it for this one. Just a note, although I do really like Mysterio.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with him.
I'm not very familiar with Mysterio.
And if they don't keep the fishbowl, what are we even doing this for?
I don't know.
Mysterio is, he was a former special effects guy on movies.
Okay.
And he turns to a life of crime. He uses his effects wizardry to create illusions and disguises and things like that. So he's, like The Saint and the movie FX, with Brian Denny, isn't that or whatever?
Uh-huh.
It's like, what if that guy's bad?
Okay.
So he could have, rubber mask disguises and like holograms and lasers and things like that. And so.
Sounds kind of wacky and fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Wild guess, Ditko created him. I don't know if that's true or not. It's probably in one of these articles. But yeah, I think that could be really great. Gyllenhaal, though.
I don't know. It could work. I mean, I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
He's not exactly the first person I'd call to be wacky, but...
Especially, and if they're going to do a thing where he's playing other people, you have other actors playing the character or whatever, if he's going to be in a rubber mask or whatever.
Yeah.
I would go, like, higher payday, but, like, lower exposure.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I
So
think
this
I know
is
what
where
you
you
mean.
get a Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, or
Sure.
Brad Pitt. Somebody who's like, whoa, they got George Clooney?
Right.
But Clooney's only in it for a little while, and then he puts the fishbowl on, and it could be anybody. And then he's sneaking around. He's spying on Spider-Man, and he looks like a Indian food delivery guy or something like that.
Sure.
Because he's, not only appropriating, but he's stalking Spider-Man.
Right.
But Jake Gyllenhaal's like fairly famous for his face,
Yes.
and you're going to cover that up with a fishbowl.
Right.
I think this is all Nightcrawler. I think Nightcrawler got him this.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you can
Kinda
do like weird and creepy.
and
Yeah,
creepy.
right. I'm trying to think of what Jamie Foxx did before Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2, that they went, you're the guy.
Right.
Fake tooth gap. And then you go,
Right.
thank you, Spider-Man. It is my birthday. Or whatever. Like, oh, that's, yeah, perfect. What?
Yeah.
Remember,
I don't
these
know.
are Sony movies
I
still.
know.
Not much has changed. Speaking of movies that are Marvel but aren't Marvel, we're looking at the old Deadpool stir. That's a thing, right?
Yep.
His movie did pretty well. It opened with $176 million internationally.
That's pretty good.
That's without China,
Okay.
which always seem to get added in later. So I don't know. I guess if we find out what that is, we'll tell you later. But it did. It passed X-Men: Days of Future Past,
Okay.
which made $174 million internationally. It did make $38 million from China. So it beat the last X-Men movie. Or actually, no, Days of Future Past was not the last, but it beat one of the X-Men movies. And
Yes.
then it surpassed Logan, which was, up to this point, the biggest international opening for an R-rated title at $160 million.
Huh. Not too shabby.
And it beat Infinity War.
Oh. Wow.
Well, I mean, fourth weekend release or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to last forever.
I suppose.
In the Infinity War news area,
Yes.
doing great. We're pros. Infinity War has made $300 million in China in 10 days.
Wow.
So yeah, it's knocking on the door of $2 billion at this point.
That's amazing.
No, that's marvelous.
Infinite.
Excelsior.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't say amazing around the shop. So no problems there. Definitely a success, no matter what rating we give it later. Anything else? Yes. Looks like Epics. Remember Epics?
I don't know if I do remember Epics.
Nobody knows. Epics. They are producing a prequel series,
Okay.
a Batman prequel series. It's from the Gotham team. It's called, get this, Pennyworth.
What's Pennyworth?
Alfred Pennyworth.
Oh.
I know you can't call your series Alfred. It sounds like a high
Like
society
Alfie
version
or
of
something.
Alf. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Anyway, now I want to do Alf and Alfie, and it's like he's a cat and a womanizer, and the women find their cat's gone, and yeah. It's going to be about the early life of Alfred.
Because everybody is just clawing.
Why
to
don't we
know
just do
more.
a show called Thomas Wayne's Ballsack? What do you think, everybody? It's got a big climax.
Oh my God.
So anyway,
Wow.
this is real.
I can't believe it's real.
In a side bit of news notes, they are bringing Batwoman to the small screen in like the next season of Arrow, or when they do one of those Flareoverse crossover things.
Sure.
They're going to have Batwoman. So Batwoman made it to TV before Batman did. In
Wow.
the meantime, what are you guys doing about it? We got an Alfred in high school show. Stop. Stop it.
Oh, gosh.
Stop. Stop this.
Nobody wants
Stop
to
it.
see Alfred growing up. We all love him as Alfred, but
So anyway, well, what
Yeah.
you don't know about Alfred, or you might not know, is that, he was, this is all Red County, but he was in the SAS. Do you know what I mean? And he was like a paratrooper and stuff like that.
Oh.
So it'll hopefully be about his life in the British Secret Service. And like you could have him, boy, I'd be pushing it to put him in World War II at this point, but you could have him in Nam and doing
Okay.
stuff. And so it can be an action adventure show
sure.
that just ends with, I assume, less hair and him putting on a bow tie and then getting some soup for somebody.
British eyes only.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't. If you, you don't. All right. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know why they're scared. Superman's on TV now.
Yeah.
He's played by the werewolf guy.
Yeah.
So, what's the problem?
I don't know.
Just put Batman on TV.
I know.
What?
He
I don't
can be
understand what
on
the
the
problem
small
is.
screen.
Yeah. What's the problem?
There's not a problem. Gotham is hugely successful, and it's all about him.
Where's
Except it's not him.
Where's the Robin in high school show?
Good question.
Where's that?
Teen Titans.
There's like the Chuck Dixon like Robin miniseries or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's Teen Titans clearly, but I mean just like Robin. Like you want a procedural that's less expensive than showing a gigantic house
With the
with
bat
cars
symbol.
shooting out of a bat cave or whatever,
Right.
and Killer Croc or whatever. How about half high school show? You already do it in Flash and all these other shows.
Yeah.
Where's the Robin show?
Yeah.
I have feelings. This reminds me a lot of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Oh, boy.
Now, this is a little different because Indiana Jones, how do you get him? You get him in movies.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can get him.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, much like everything that Lucas ever produced, but much like Star Wars, Indiana Jones is based on serials,
Yeah.
or based on adventure films of the 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be projected. That's where it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to make an Indiana Jones TV show, you could have him, getting in with the Khmer Rouge or what or something, or just like getting mixed up in all kinds of crazy stuff
Sure.
with King Tut or whatever. But what they did instead was he was a young guy. So there's a frame story where in the early 90s or whatever, there's a really old Henry Jones walking around with an eye patch. But then he'd like see I remember this, and he'd flash back to 2 time periods. One that sucked when he was a little boy, and he was being taken around the world by Sean Connery's character, his father.
Right.
And they'd have like fun Doctor Who sort of educational adventures. you
Sure.
know. And then there was what's his name? Sean Patrick Flannery. Hey, what are you doing? What's that? What's that? Years where he was like, in his teens, and he was basically getting sucked into World War I in Europe.
Well, that's more interesting.
Way cooler. Yeah, way cooler. So, it's okay. There's precedent for this, but yeah, I mean, I like Alfred, but I don't really. Before Batman.
Yeah.
Just do Batman.
I know.
This reminds me of my idea for a Marcus Brody series.
Yeah.
So you're not ruining anybody with Marcus Brody.
I don't know who Marcus Brody is.
Marcus Brody is, Indy, you've brought back some new pieces. The museum will buy them, of course.
Oh,
he's
sure.
the guy that he always reports to, right?
Okay,
he
sure.
runs the college.
Yes.
And so the impression that I got, except for the fact that he's kind of a bumbling doof, is that that's what Indy should be or will be someday.
Mm-hmm.
No, because we're getting Indiana Jones 5. But at some point, Indy should be the dean of the college, and he should have some professor who's like always calling in sick because he's punching a Nazi off a boat or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, like, what if Marcus Brody was? So the actor that plays Marcus Brody, Denham Elliott, who is amazing, one of my favorite actors, he was a little like, you know, he didn't care what side of the road he drove on, sort of thing.
Okay.
So you take that, you put him in like the Roaring 20s, or even farther back, you know, like the teens or whatever, or even farther back in the aughts, in the whole Great Game sort of era of European politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a Nick and Nora style thing where he's out there, gin and tonics, bam, bam, bam. He's falling in bed with men, women. He's getting involved in like espionage and stuff like that. He's just kind of stumbling through by the skin of his teeth. You know, he's not really a two-fisted guy. He's more of a talker.
This sounds great. It writes itself, right?
We should delete all this. I gotta make a pitch to Lucasfilm. Oh no, they don't exist anymore. What else do we got out there? You know about Stan Lee?
What about Stanley?
Well, you know about Stan
Well,
Lee.
I know about Stanley.
You know what's going on
but I
with
don't know
Stan
if
Lee.
I know about Stanley.
Well, Stanley is back after not feeling too well. He has apparently recovered, and apparently, get this, I follow him on social media,
Okay.
and there's a post that came out on social media, and it was like, "Help! My social media accounts have been hijacked. Every post you've heard up to this point hasn't been me. It's been somebody else. Can you help me get my accounts back?"
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Is this for real?
Well, how can you ever know? Whether you
There's no
were
way.
an imposter, why would you do that?
Right.
Whether you were the real person, why would you do that? There's no veracity to this.
Sure, he has like a PR guy or something.
That's apparently who was running his accounts up to this point. So anyway, his next post after that was like, "Thanks, true believers, for getting my account back." And then it was posted with a video of him, not with a newspaper in the corner, although there should have been with today's date. And he was basically like, "I've finally, this is me talking to you, your Generalissimo." And he basically like announced that he is suing his former business partners for $1 billion.
Okay.
His former business partners at POW Entertainment, which is a company that he created, which were like, wow, what a spry 89-year-old. But none of us thought that it was really going to ever deliver anything.
Uh-huh.
And apparently they, I don't know, you have to read the complaint, but they sold the company. He basically claims that they took the company in a direction that he didn't approve of. They sold the company to a Chinese company. The main, I think, complaint is that his likeness, and his face is trademarked, basically.
Sure.
Has been licensed to be used by them, but he has no control over what
They say.
two believers. No, they're not doing that, but he has no control over the use of his likeness, which he didn't agree to. This was all signed at a time right after his wife died, and he was in bad health. We know that he's essentially deaf, but also he's legally blind too. So his business manager basically made him sign something, and he didn't know it was on it. It's this whole thing. So yeah,
real bad news.
Yeah. Anyway, the entire affidavit is available. I don't know. Just Google around for it. You'll find it.
Wow.
Stan. Stan needs a hero.
Man.
He needs a hero.
I need a hero.
Is there a hero that stands up for old people?
There should be.
Florida man. Retirement community man. And that's how I came up with Depends, Captain Depends.
Oh my gosh.
You can always be sure of Captain Depends. Not good. It's terrible. We were talking about esoteric Jack Kirby creations with the new gods before. I suppose there's old gods now. There's new gods.
Yep.
On the other front, on the other side of the fence, it looks like Marvel has set a screenwriting duo for the Eternals movie that we've heard is supposed to happen.
Okay.
The screenwriters are Matthew and Ryan Firpo.
Who are they?
I don't know.
Okay.
They wrote a spec script called Ruin that was on the 2017 Blacklist. We've talked about the Blacklist on the show before. And so they're kind of hot at this point, right for the Blacklist.
Yeah.
Used to be you were Steven D'Souza. You had a lot. You had to write Commando. You had to direct the Street Fighter movie. You had a lot on your plate here.
Yeah.
You got there by working.
Right.
Nowadays, you just write a movie that opens on God eating a planet or something. It's like you could never ever produce this. People are like, "Oh, this is great." Goes in the Blacklist. You got a job.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know. Good question. I mean, it seems like you can pretty much write your own ticket if you're on the Blacklist.
Yeah.
Which is kind of seems like a new thing.
Yeah. So look out for my new screenplay. It's called The Beginning of Time. And it starts with the Big Bang, rendered, every particle rendered exactly as it was. We got Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh boy!
I've talked to him, and it's gonna be a big hit.
It can be epic
on the Blacklist.
Yeah,
it's never gonna be produced. Anyway, hey, Snoopy and the rest of the Peanuts.
Yes.
Now belong to Sony.
What?
Yes, Sony has taken.
That was a deal done quietly.
Sony has taken. It was you could hear. It was Sony's got a 39% stake now in Peanuts, valued at about $185 million.
Wow. Well, Charles Schultz is no longer around. So.
No, he's not. But his family owns about 20%. And another company called DHX Media owns the remaining 41%.
Wow. Why is it split so much?
Lots of things are split.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not even going to talk about the CBS-Viacom merger that's going on right now, which is crazy, by the way. Just Google, go to Variety or something and read about all the machinations and political maneuvering that's going on over this CBS-Viacom merger deal.
Wow.
So anyway, that is, I don't know what to think about that. I mean, do Japanese people like Snoopy? Doesn't really matter. Sony's an international company.
They like Snoopy, for sure.
Aren't they always, dressed up at Japanese baseball games and stuff? Japanese baseball games are crazy. American baseball game, give me a hot dog, and 5 beers. And there we go.
Some
and maybe we'll
Jacks.
do the wave at some point.
Yeah.
But Japanese baseball games, there's you sit in your own section because it's either you're cheering for the team or you have a club that cheers for that team. And so you dress up and then there's they'll pause the game so the mascots can go and rah, rah, rev up certain parts of the stands and stuff like that. And I'm sure I've seen the Peanuts at some point, the Peanuts gang.
I'm sure.
Out there.
Yeah.
Not backing me up at all.
I would not be surprised if they were at the baseball game.
Well, anyway, apparently the Peanuts film made $250 million worldwide when it came out in 2015.
Wow.
Did you know there was a Peanuts film?
I did not know there was one.
Well,
in
good investment,
2015.
Sony. Sony is looking for new things to do because apparently the CEO recently... No, they have a new CEO. I was going to say the old one. It's Kenichiro Yoshida. Has announced that they are moving away from gadgets.
Away from gadgets, huh?
Yep.
Oh.
Which we had always talked about. I think we talked about on the show. Why do they make all this stuff? They own so many patents.
I don't know.
And so much IP, and they continue to make gadgets. Which, to be honest, if there was no other version of this gadget, this would this phone,
be the best.
This game system would be the best.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't play well with any other piece of technology. They have no interest in making it do so because of their just approach to the marketplace. They want to control everything. Why are you guys doing this?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, they don't want to do it anymore.
Okay. Well, maybe it's a good plan.
So, yeah, it's a nebulous plan at this point. Nobody knows how that will affect things like PlayStation, which is still a moneymaker.
Yeah.
Or if Sony will just try to continue with licensing as far as video games go. But I guess as we get more information, we will give you more information. One more?
Okay, one more.
Actually, let's do 2 more real fast. and a bit. I wanted to say that Lost in Space was renewed for season 2.
Yep.
I think we've slowed down a little bit, but we still like the show, and we'll, I guess, talk about season 2. Maybe we'll do a wrap-up show when we get back.
Okay.
Or when we finish about what we think about Lost in Space.
Sounds good.
So far, I think strong.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good.
It is strong.
It's not The Wire or anything. But it's all right.
No, but it's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something I want to talk about. It looks like DC Universe, which is the new DC-branded streaming service.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Yeah. My neighbor's dog has a
Streaming service?
Yeah.
Is it called Woof?
Office did that already. Barkflix.
Oh, my gosh.
Barkflix? I don't
Okay.
know. It's called Ticks.
Boy, that's bad.
Right. They have ordered a live-action Doom Patrol series for 13 episodes.
Okay. Who's in Doom Patrol?
What do you mean?
Well,
who the heroes?
Yeah, who are the heroes?
Really? You don't know Doom Patrol?
No, I don't know Doom Patrol.
Oh, all right, we got to cover Doom Patrol on the show. Nobody that you know. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
It's Robot Man and Elastigirl and
Okay.
whatever. All right. They're like how do you describe them? They're like DC's X-Men kind of. Actually, they're a lot like DC's X-Men. They came out like a couple years before, and they feature a bunch of weird teens who are trying to figure out their powers, and they're led by a guy in a wheelchair.
Oh.
True believers. Check the date on that one. I don't know. They don't quote me on that, but they were developed, I think, at a similar time era.
Sure.
Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be produced by Greg Berlanti, which means that it'll get 6 seasons.
Yep.
Which is good news. Jeff Johns and Sarah Schechter, who are also names that you see when you're watching Flash on the screen,
Yep.
will also be involved, and that's kind of all we know. Now, after the bad press with the Titans show, I don't think I want this.
You don't want it?
Everybody hates the Titans. It hasn't even aired, and people hate it.
That's bad news.
You've seen the pictures.
Yes, I have seen the pictures.
Yeah. So now take that and make it a cable show budget, or sorry, an online show budget.
Okay, so this is not going to be a cartoon. This is going to be live action.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about this either. I feel kind of nebulous about it.
Nebula Man. That's I think he debuted in Doom Patrol. So anyway, yeah, and I don't know. It's the problem is that they aren't just X-Men analogs, like I said. They were always kind of weird in the Silver Age, Bronze Age when they came out.
Mm-hmm.
They had a very, very famous run by Grant Morrison. It's kind of where he cut his teeth, or one of the places he cut his teeth in DC Comics, and of course led to all the weird meta storytelling sort of thing that kind of divide. One of the characters is a street.
Okay.
Like the pavement? No, just like a street. He is a street.
How do you show that?
You draw a street. So anyway, what are the chances that all that's going to make it to the screen?
I don't know.
Is it maybe just going to be a stretchy girl?
Yeah, probably.
And a guy with bandages on his face?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's probably what it's going to be. So anyway, more news on that as that develops. And one more story, one super important story. Joe and Anthony Russo, the directors of Avengers Infinity War, have confirmed who lives and who has died off screen that we don't see in Infinity War.
What?
So, oh wow, you don't know about this.
No, I don't.
All right, so you, if you want spoilers, and listener, if you don't want spoilers, I don't know, skip forward 5 minutes or so. Also, just in general for the movie, maybe it's a little too late, but a bunch of people die at the end of Infinity War. Spoilers start now.
Yeah.
We don't see people off screen, and people have questions. And my thing is, shut up.
Stop! They're going to take our toys away.
Yeah, you've got a whole year.
I know.
I guess it doesn't matter because it'll all be wrapped up next year. So it's not like it'll affect. Maybe in Homecoming 2, you can go, boy, that time that I disappeared, you were there you got us all back.
Right.
But he doesn't have to worry about that because Aunt May lives. As does Howard the Duck.
Oh, boy.
as is Nakia, Lupita Nyong'o's character.
Okay.
Who it's not even in Infinity War.
No, she's not.
And I don't know how they come up with these, but as for who died off screen, Matt Damon's character, who plays Loki
Right.
in the little stage play.
Okay.
Betty Ross and Lady Sif are both gone, which seems more cleaning house than anything else.
Yeah, I just kind of figured Lady Sif died when Hela was there somehow.
Yeah. And then as far as the ones that everybody really wants to know,
Yeah.
they were marked as too spoilery. So we don't know. This was like an interview where they're like, can you tell us? And or is that too? And they said, well, this is too spoilery. Jane Foster, we don't know.
Okay.
Which seems like a contract thing.
Yeah.
Korg and Meek,
Yep.
we don't know.
Okay.
But it's like, who cares?
Well,
I mean, I like Korg, but
right.
it wouldn't really affect much if he didn't show up again. Shuri, we don't know.
Okay.
And we don't know about Ned.
What about Valkyrie?
We don't know. Or I think it wasn't addressed in this interview, but I think it was confirmed that she's, Thanos only kills half the people. So half the Asgardians lived.
Right.
And she's one of them. She was leading the Asgardians who are getting away.
All right. Okay. Well, geez. Thanks, Russo brothers, for that enlightening tidbit. Kind of wish people had just not asked that question, but,
Yeah. I think everybody's mad that it's all going to be put back the way it was.
Yeah.
And I am too. But not if you can put it back and still have people remember what happened.
Yeah. You can remember.
Nobody
has
shut up about New York for the last 10 years. Well, more like the last 7.5 years of Marvel movies, right?
Right.
So shouldn't the fact that everybody disappeared in the blink of an eye, and then after a lot of caterwauling came back, that should affect every hero's story going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's important to have this stuff and not just toss it off like, whatever.
Right.
Because if you're going to do a Ms. Marvel movie, which Kevin Feige kind of confirmed, somebody asked him and he was like, yeah, but he didn't have like a date or anything like that.
Okay.
But it seems like they are definitely working on a Ms. Marvel movie. Or Ms. Marvel, excuse me.
Sure.
Why not have her origin story? Every origin story now that isn't from the 90s should involve like the fact that a big California raisin came and killed half the planet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's my idea.
No, I agree.
Okay. Are we done?
I think we're done.
Did we talk about Rick and Morty?
No, we did not.
We'll call that a tease.
Okay.
I guess come back in a future show to talk about some news you probably already know. He's the Merc without a mouth. He's going down south, and he hates Brandon Routh. It's Deadpool. And his second film, which was released this weekend to all those Deadpool fans out there, of which there's quite a few. Mm-hmm. First movie, made a lot of money.
Yep.
$6.5 million or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just pulled that out of my butt. I don't know if that's true. But I know that it's a lot of money, and the sequel is now upon us. Can you tell us what happens? Without spoilers.
Oh boy, without
spoilers. In Deadpool 2.
The Merc is back. Guess who's back? Back again. They didn't do that.
I'm amazed.
And he's more hijinks ensue. Negasonic Teenage Warhead is back, and so is Colossus. His friend the cab driver is back, Dopinder.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters from the first film are back.
What? Yep. Roll call. What? Okay. I mean, you can spoil. Spoiling is like, there's a thing, and this happens. Like the second part is the spoil, right?
Yeah.
So if you just say, Deadpool meets a young troubled mutant,
Yes.
who's, there's a sort of battle for his soul going on.
Yep.
And Deadpool has to kind of get over himself and his Deadpoolness to see if he's going to help this kid or not.
Yeah.
And along the way, he sort of meets a panoply of both old and new superheroes, and hijinks ensue.
Okay. Perfect. You get the award.
Well, why don't you ask me, and I'll do it from now on. Yeah, the highly anticipated sequel to Deadpool called just Deadpool 2, which, again, I think is kind of weird.
It's kind of a missed opportunity.
What would you call it?
Deadpool 2.
Back in the Habit. It would have to be some ripoff of some other sequel to,
Parts Unknown?
9 to 5.
I don't know.
I was going to make a Dolly Parton joke, but you topped it without even hearing it. What'd you think?
I thought it was okay. I did not enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first film. I felt like the story was lacking in parts. I thought like they didn't use some of his friend characters as much as they could have. Like, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, I feel like, was really underutilized, and Dopinder was really underutilized as well.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot of hullabaloo and not a lot of kicking ass and taking names.
Okay. I think a lot of ass was kicked and many names were taken.
No.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
Extremely fast and incredibly loose is what my subtitle for it.
That's good.
Whereas the first, off of that stupid book about 9/11, I call it 9/11 stupid. Come on. The first movie. There's a charm to the first movie, which, as we know, is based on a 3-minute VFX demo footage.
Right.
The entire movie's based on that. And it has this kind of little movie that could feel to it. Mm-hmm. Even down to the catchphrase of sort of lackadaisically expressed maximum effort kind of, like
right.
you can hardly believe that this movie exists. The movie itself can't believe that it exists. And it's all about, it's got a weird thing where it starts in the middle and, just like movies do these days, but somehow keeps track of itself through all that, and then uses, the meta convention or the meta aspects of the character to comment on those conventions while
right.
still doing it. And there's a storyline about a guy who doesn't consider himself to be a hero, who finds out that he has to do it because nobody else is going to, and he's going to do it his way, which
right.
is spell out the name of the guy he's fighting in Dead Bodies.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And it all works.
Mm-hmm.
What's the theme of this one?
Are we still
not
doing
a spoiler.
no spoilers?
It's not a spoiler. It's the first line of the film. It's a family film.
Yes.
Because it's about a family.
Right.
About the families that you find.
Yes.
Never seen that before. Glad you told me, because I don't think I would have got it if I hadn't watched this film. And I just think that it's lazy. It's just lazy.
It is kind of lazy.
You get the thing where it's like, oh, they took, you've got your entire life to make your first album. The second one's due in 9 months.
Right.
And yeah, but then The Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back?
Mm-hmm.
Aliens?
Right.
You can do better the second time.
You can.
And this is just a huge mishmash of ideas. And somehow this time, for this viewer, they missed the tone. Like, the tone was always in danger of, if this thing doesn't take it seriously, why shouldn't I take it seriously?
Right.
In the first one, but it just sort of works still. And this one lost me. There were just entire stretches where I was like, clearly the plot doesn't matter here, so make me laugh.
Right.
And a lot of the jokes were kind of lame.
They kind of landed flat.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them did.
Now, only I thought that because everybody else in the theater was laughing their ass off. So I'm a monster, but
No, there were parts where people were laughing their ass off, and I was just kind of sitting there too.
and there were parts that like they really tucked in for like a thing. Like when you're doing a bit, you can go, do we do the 30-second version of the bit, or do we do like the 8-minute version of the bit?
Right.
Where we know it's gonna stop being funny halfway through, but if we keep going, it'll be hilarious when we reach the end.
Right.
And they do that a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
and very rarely does it reach hilarious,
Yes, I would agree with
in
that.
my opinion. I mean, without spoiling anything, all we can do is just talk about it in terms of the first film.
Yep.
So, like, what did you think the first film got right that it didn't? Or even, vice versa. How did it improve on the first film?
Well, like the first film was like about him kind of fighting for love and like fighting for this person that he really cared about, and I mean, we've seen that a bunch of different times, but
Ish.
yeah.
He does want to kill a guy who messed his face up.
Well, that's true. That's very true.
That's like a big part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he goes out for revenge in kind of a funny way, and he the way he fights for love is very earnest and endearing and charming and funny. And I think the jokes hit a lot more with the first film.
Yeah.
I just remember laughing constantly. And with the second film, it's like they wanted to tell the same jokes, but they couldn't tell the exact same jokes, so they tried to tell them slightly differently.
I have to give them credit for, there were a couple times that they referenced jokes that were in the first movie, which you expect a movie to do.
Mm-hmm.
A bad movie goes hard on it.
Right.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like, remember when we did that in the first film?
Right.
Now we're doing it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they didn't really do that all that much. There was a couple things. So I respect that, but what they found to replace it, I just didn't. I thought it was a lot of half-baked ideas that it's like, if Ryan will pull us through, like his winning charisma will put this over.
Right.
And without spoiling anything, we can't talk about a lot of stuff. Same writers. It's still Reese and Wernick,
Okay.
who they've said that they want to do a Zombieland sequel. And I'm like, why would you guys
Do a Zombieland
go
sequel.
back to that? Yeah.
Oh.
We also know that Reese and Wernick wrote Life.
Life? The movie Life?
Yeah. So they aren't great writers necessarily.
It's not a great movie.
No.
It's really not a great movie.
No, it's pretty bad. Although that's the guy I was thinking of who is in Westworld.
Which guy?
The one Japanese guy
Oh,
is
okay.
the guy who's in Shogun World or whatever.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so they're not, this isn't Robert Town here, you know what I mean? They're not going to nail it every time.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that this was enough up their alley, a.k.a. not the right expression, Zombieland, like, oh, this is their sweet spot.
Right.
Don't go to them for a Life.
Right.
Go to them for a Deadpool / Zombieland.
Right.
Which, and then, okay, we sit here crapping on it. It's not bad by any means.
No.
It's fine. It's fine. But whereas the first film was total revelation, how Fabian Nicieza, Rob Liefeld character, like, how good is this going to be?
Right.
Totally blew you away. Got it. Was on board. How could we deserve something like this?
Right.
Well, apparently we didn't deserve a sequel that really upped the game.
No.
It's fine.
It is fine.
But I'm, as a fan and a convert of the first film, like, I'm disappointed because it's just all right. Like, I compared it to, like, whereas, like, I felt like the first film was like beginning, middle, end, works as a movie. If that character was called Pledpool, like, it would still work, you know?
Right.
This wouldn't work if it wasn't Deadpool. It's just 2.5 hours of Deadpool screwing around and
Yes.
doesn't work as a movie at all. And again, without spoiling anything, events at the end of the movie basically mean that what I said was right.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. None of it matters.
Right.
And like,
There's
if
no
you're not taking it
consequence.
seriously, how can I?
Right.
Good stuff.
Um.
Zazie Beetz.
Yes, I would agree.
Domino solo movie.
Domino was awesome.
Probably best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Too little.
She did not look like Barf from Spaceballs. So whoever said that before
does a
needs to
little.
take that back.
She does a little.
A little bit.
But who cares?
But not in a bad way.
Yeah, who cares?
Negasonic Teenage Warhead has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
her name is Yukio, and that's she's
Just
kind of
to-
problematic and
well, I'm going to cut my losses and save all of my specific criticisms for spoilers. So
Okay.
if people cut out, they won't hear me insult the other things they like.
sure.
It's a new thing I've got going on. Yeah, but she could have been in it more. Wildebeest people kid. Good, bad?
Yes. Russell, he was okay. I don't know how incredibly endearing he was.
The character?
Yeah, the character.
Well, it's not the actor's fault.
no, it's
Well,
not the
he's
actor's fault.
fine.
Yeah.
Felt like Josh Brolin was just kind of there.
Cashing a check.
I mean, I don't know what for Cable like. Well, no, there's a character there. Yeah, he's big gun guy, little eye guy.
Yeah.
There's a character there.
Yeah.
But I felt like Brolin didn't have a lot to do, and he was just like, I'm just getting paid. He was like Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. I can't sanction your tomfoolery, you know. It's a lot better as Thanos.
Yeah.
All right, can we talk about spoilers now?
Yeah, we can talk about spoilers.
Okay, so recommendation, yes, no?
I feel like if you like the first movie, go ahead and see it. But if you didn't like the first movie, you're not going to like the second movie.
Well, clearly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it because, I mean, you're going to see it anyway, but I still think we want more movies like this.
Yeah.
Definitely see it. But when you see it and you feel like maybe you didn't like as much as the first,
Think about that.
think about it.
Mhm.
Let this change you.
Yeah.
Let this grow you. Now we'll talk about why it's not as good.
All right.
No Tim Miller.
No.
Who knew it was so important to have him? I think that and I don't want to misquote us or them, but maybe a year ago when they were talking about, well, it must have been more than a year, when they were talking about doing number 2, they lost Tim Miller over disagreements. And one of the disagreements was Ryan Reynolds wanted it to stay funny, and Tim Miller wanted to be funny still, but he wanted to push like the pathos of the character more, like have serious stuff still
Sure.
and have consequence and make it, still an action thing.
Sure.
So now we know what that looks like.
Yep.
It looks like Deadpool 2.
Yep.
Where nothing is important, nothing matters.
Yep.
The action, as soon as like there was opening montage and he was like, he's killing Chinese guys, he's killing French guys, they're just doing like a montage of him killing people. I was like, the action movie in this movie is going to suck. Because they're just jamming it all in now.
Yeah.
There'll be things that happen later. There'll be a CGI fight.
Yeah.
And there is one. And
Which they'll
call
call
it out because you have to. But that's it. That's all we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I expected more, or I guess maybe I shouldn't have expected more from David Leitch, the guy who directed John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he an action guy?
You would think.
I mean, I do not like John Wick. It is a bad film. At me. I'm telling you to at me. Let's do this. Another guy who, speaking about paying your dues, was a stuntman for a long time.
Wow.
And then he became a stunt coordinator. Now he's a director.
Wow.
And so as a director, he, as far as I know, has no input into the script, but all the toxic masculinity that is inherent in the origins of a character like Deadpool, and so come at me with he's pansexual. Sure he is. But all the traps and danger zones that we could get into, I felt were fairly handily dodged in the first film, other than turning Firefly chick just into, the princess that has to be saved or whatever.
Right.
That's just, that's just movies. This movie, what do we got? Instantly dies.
Yep.
He should have just
She's
put
fridged.
her in the fridge. And of course, is your movie funny or is it
Sad.
pathos? Because
Yeah.
that would have been a great refrigerator joke moment if you're a meta guy. Do you know what I mean? It's
Terrible.
literally, but you are supposed to be the most self-aware film, and the thing that comes from comics you do in the first 5 minutes of your film, and you got nothing.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't even matter at the end because they just make the movie that you just watched completely
matter.
invalid. It just never exists.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So anyway, so we lose that character. She just sits in a fuzzy sweater for the entire film.
Yep.
We take like a standout character from the first film, but another female character,
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
and we please the woke folk hashtag because we say, oh, she's the first gay comic book character on screen, which I think she is. So congratulations, Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
You filled that box by completely sidelining the character.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Jose Canseco? Not okay. It's a joke. What's her name?
I don't know.
She punches Tina
I don't know.
Luis. Not Tina Luis. Witchy Wacky.
I have no
Livewire,
idea.
Haywire, Soderbergh. She punches.
Oh. I don't know what her name is.
Gina Carano.
Oh. Woo.
Wow. Right?
Yeah.
Female bruiser. She goes toe to toe with Colossus.
Sure.
Out. She's gone.
Yeah.
Didn't even have any funny like jokes like when he's fighting the lady ninjas in the first one, and he's like, "Is it okay if I kill you? Like, is that,
Right.
or is it like sexist if I don't?"
Right.
All that's
I remember
gone.
that.
All that subtlety's gone.
Yeah.
Because I think that this movie is just, and I want to put it on the John Wick guy, a movie that also features. Also, you're not. I know that your whole thing is like to call out stuff, Meta Man, but you just like doing exactly what John Wick did, which just killing a lady instead of a dog, and then going, one of the guys from John Wick directed this. It's like, yeah, man, yeah. Thought you would have come up with something else.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be embarrassed to do that twice.
Yeah.
I got more, so you better just get yours in now.
I thought it was funny when they showed the other X-Men in the other room, but you brought up a really good point about that. That, like,
I don't remember.
Well,
my point.
You said that Deadpool being the character.
Oh, that the movie was breaking its own meta rules.
Yes.
Which is he's the one that knows that he's in a movie.
Yes.
And so it doesn't always. I mean, they don't push it to the point where he's gonna let me go to the third reel of the film and get something I need for this part and then come
Right.
back. Like he has to live through it like the rest of us, but he can look at the camera and comment on it. He's Bugs Bunny.
Yes. Exactly.
And so now there's a thing where he doesn't know the X-Men are there, and it's like, well, wait a minute. Now we know something he doesn't.
Yeah.
And
How
that's
does that happen?
That shouldn't in a Deadpool movie. You shouldn't have that.
Right.
But they thought it was like a cute joke, and because the first one made all that money, they thought it's worth paying all the real actors scale to be in like a 5-second scene.
Yeah.
Apparently Brad Pitt thought that as well.
Apparently.
And the entire X-Force team. Can we talk about X-Force?
Yes, we can.
Why?
I know.
What's the point?
They just falls apart.
Theoretically, they all exist still. Because if Deadpool kills the guy before he even shoots Vanessa, then none of the events of the movie happen,
true.
right?
I suppose that's true.
Well, actually, no. Then something else. They steal all sorts of stuff, and they don't even bother to check if it works or not. And I know the whole thing is a cartoon, and it doesn't matter. And we get it. You're embarrassed that you did Green Lantern. Let this be the last battlefield.
Yes.
Let this be you literally shooting yourself in the face and the blood getting on a Green Lantern script. Can we let that green horse die now?
Yeah, please.
No more jokes about that ever again. You've done it.
Yeah.
We did it. You've done more to call attention to the movie Green Lantern than Green Lantern ever did.
Yes.
Jeez. But they make all these references, and I don't even know if they're doing a bit or not. Like, Cable is just he calls him John Connor at one point, but he's
Yeah.
basically like John Connor fused with the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that comes back to stop something horrible, and he's also part robot.
Yes.
So you would say referenced, but you basically a quarter of your movie is the Terminator.
Yeah.
And one of the big things about the Terminator franchise is if we change something, will it change the future or not? And depending on what sequel you're watching, the answer is different.
Yes.
So you have this whole end thing where it's like, I'm going to go back and put this token on your chest so you don't get hit with a bullet because screenwriting's easy. We introduced this before.
Yeah.
If you had 2 charges and all you want to do is save your family, after Deadpool thwarts you from killing the kid, why not immediately use it to go back
I know.
and kill the kid at the same time? I don't know if there can be more than one of you or not.
I don't know.
But just now you know that there's a Deadpool there, so go back to the prison when they're all asleep and do it after Deadpool's died of cancer, for instance.
Sure.
No. He doesn't do it.
No.
What's his plan? Kill the kid.
Well, and his plan, like, after, like, Deadpool is dying and dead, and he goes back in time and does the token thing.
Right.
Why does he shoot Deadpool at all? Does that to, like...
I know.
I mean, you go back in time. Why do you do that? Because
Right.
you want to make sure that Russell isn't a bad guy anymore?
Right. Just go back in time, shoot Eddie Marson in the face.
Yeah.
And then go hug Rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's Rusty, by the way.
Oh, Rusty?
So Fire Fist he's Australian. Well, he's New Zealander, but there is a character who is a mutant who's sort of like good guy / bad guy, mostly bad guy, called Pyro in the comics.
Okay.
He's St. John Allardyce, so he's got a weird name, but he's from Australia. Close. I know they're not the same.
Yeah.
But instead they decide to make him Rusty of Rusty and Skid's fame, like from the Ex-Terminators. So he's a character who's basically like pretty much all a good guy, but he's lived a troubled life. It's kind of a reference, but not. But anyway, getting back to my point. So the movie just doesn't, and then at the end, like, yeah, I get it. It's like post-credits type stuff. Is it canon? Is it not? But
Right.
I read an interview with like the director, and they consider that canon. So Vanessa will be in the 3rd movie, and thank God, maybe you'll finally have the chance to give her something to do. And I
Yeah.
guess they consider that. I'm sure they'll make a joke about how Ryan Reynolds was mysteriously murdered, like in his house or whatever. But once you go back and undo the movie I just watched,
I know.
so he goes back and saves Vanessa. Russell still is being tortured in an orphanage.
Yes.
And we don't see him like
Go
time travel
and
back and like
make sure to save
hook
him.
Russell up with like a family before he ends up to the orphanage.
Yeah, there's so many points where he could have saved him.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
It's just, Deadpool Through Time is its own movie.
Yeah.
They do it in the comics. They had, these throwback issues where Deadpool goes back to the 70s, and they do it in the style of like a 70s comic book, where he's,
Sure.
Luke Cage is Jive Turkey in, and Deadpool's got a big fro that's outside of his mask somehow. Like, that's your movie right there. But if you're
Yeah.
going to give him a time machine, just have that be the second act.
Yes.
Solve whatever the first thing is, and then you and Cable get thrown through time, and you learn to buddy up and whatever. And
Right. Work together.
but it's
as a
like you're like,
team.
no, we're gonna take this seriously. We take the whole thing serious. It's all serious until all right, we made it. Now I don't have to be serious anymore.
Yeah.
And also, everything you watch doesn't matter.
Right. Because that's really rewarding and feels
I
good to the
disagree.
viewer.
Did you catch the Matt Damon cameo in this movie?
I did not. I learned about it afterwards.
Yeah.
He's one of the hillbillies.
Yeah. Well,
And
yeah.
Alan Tudyk is too.
Great scene.
Yeah. I know.
And that fits in like with what I was saying before with the actual X-Men being in the movie. It's like, now we've got money. This seems like it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
So we better make sure that we get some of our stink on it. And one person in particular thought that was something he ought to do, and that was Brad Pitt?
I know.
What?
I don't know why he thought he had to be in this movie. Or
But-
he thought that was a good idea.
But it's just, it's a commercial for him, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Deadpool pulled out like a can of Pocari Sweat, and he was like, "Oh, 1 second, I gotta quench this thirst first." And he's like, "That's good," and you're like, "Okay, what's the joke? It's the Pocari means balls, right? In Japanese, right?
Right.
And then he just puts it down. Don't forget to recycle. Throws it in the can and runs off and fights. And you're like, That was a commercial.
Yeah.
That was just product placement in this Deadpool movie.
Yes.
That's how I
a
felt
good
about the
point.
Brad Pitt thing. It was like there was no joke. There wouldn't be any because he can't see that it's. And is Brad Pitt secretly a superhero, or does he just? The tragedy is that he looks like Brad Pitt, so he could probably get a lot of ladies and maybe some stunt double work. But his curse is that he's invisible, so no one will ever see that.
Well, that's more interesting right there.
This is more than they thought about it.
Yes.
I trusted you, movie.
I know.
I mean, I have things written down, but who cares? A lot of the gags were just lame.
Yeah.
When he goes, "Who are you? I'm Batman." Wow. Why don't you stick that gag back in the fanny pack and you can send it with the time machine back to 1989? Like, we've done that. That's been done.
I know.
Haven't been as donest for many years.
Well, okay, and then
So fresh.
The end credit scene where he goes back to save.
Hey, Genius Bar, I need this, but it's just like dad jokes.
I know.
Dad jokes.
He goes back and he saves Peter of X-Force, but he doesn't save anybody else because they've already jumped out of the plane. So presumably all he saves is Peter.
Yeah, but again, once he saves Vanessa,
It doesn't matter.
they won't even ever go on the mission.
That's true.
Assuming there's a scene where he saves Russell and we don't see it. And that way, I think, and who knows if it'll be, this might be why they picked some kind of C-list X-Forcers.
Okay.
Because it's like, no offense, Terry Crews is awesome, but why?
He is awesome.
I don't remember the guy's name now. Rumble Man or whatever his name is. Why that guy, right?
Yeah.
I personally think that you could redeem Shatterstar, but generally it's seen as one of the most egregious, like, 90s characters.
Mm-hmm.
Why him? Why an invisible guy?
Right.
Here's the answer. Why the guy that vomits acid?
Right.
Because we're going to kill them all.
Right.
I mean, that should have been clear. I don't know why any of us were surprised by that, except for the fact that there are scenes in the trailer that aren't in the film because they lied to us.
I know.
Why does Deadpool have to lie to us?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They also did for promotion. They put Deadpool's face on a lot of different like movie covers at like Walmart or something like that. It's like all these different films.
You know what that is?
What is that?
LCD.
Okay.
Not the character that's trying to kill Wolverine. Lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
A movie that makes $600.5 million or whatever is never going to be edgy or like fringe. But
Right.
at this point, it's total. It's not even zeitgeist. It's just mainstream. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I saw that. Like, there's a whole rack at Best Buy or wherever.
Right.
First of all, who buys DVDs? Second of all, there's like a unicorn. Which, by the way, where are the unicorns?
Nowhere.
Too gay. And I'll get to that in a second.
Where are the tacos?
But on the side of the chimichangas, on the side of the display, there's like a unicorn, and in the word balloon of the unicorn, it's like, "Ha ha! Don't worry, the real movies are in here." First of all, I get it, but second of all,
Wow.
I'm just thinking about the ad exec who went, "But aren't people gonna
Be
won't
worried?"
Yeah, so let's have a friendly unicorn tell them, right? And then the unicorn will show you that he's sharing in the humor, and to do that, he'll go, "Ha ha." That's what's taken over this series. That's why, at this point, I don't think we'll ever get a movie like the first one ever again. Like, they're all going to be like this.
Yeah. Which is too bad because the first one was so great.
So anyway, yes, there's a lot of, like, grabbing Colossus's butt, which, that's assault, brother.
Yeah.
Like, at what point are we like, okay, leave the metal man alone? But it's, like, funny, and it's, like, grabbing it like, ha-ha, I'm so straight. I'm doing this, man. Got it?
Right.
You take the unicorns out. Because I think they were like too weird and too gay. Now, again, I don't think that David Leitch had any effect on the script, but he could affect the tone of the production. And I think
Sure.
that they wanted to butch it up a lot.
But isn't that taking away from the character as
Yeah,
well?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're insecure. Because they make sweet-ass movies where Keanu Reeves shoots 300 guys in the face. Man, brah. Check it out.
That makes me sick.
I'm depressed.
Yeah.
The more I talk about them, the lower they get.
Yeah.
Just go down and down in my estimation. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Genius Bar. Hurry up with that. Things that we liked. I did really like Domino, and that's all off of the. She had awesome powers.
Yeah.
Which are unexplored.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea is that when she gets good luck, the other people get bad luck.
Right.
Which you kind of saw because she'd like swerve and a car would miss her, but then the car would like drive into like a gas station and it would blow up.
Right.
No, if we never get to see what the effect on her psyche of that. I mean, maybe she's very confident, but
yeah.
And since they're not basing it on the character in the books at all, she can just be a clean slate, and a lot of it's just personality of Zazie Beetz, just charisma, and it was just it was fun.
It was fun.
Would have liked to have seen more.
I would have too.
Hey, I went to this orphanage.
That's never really
great.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up right now.
Yeah.
Important.
And saving the orphans, getting them on that bus.
They kept Dopinder, but why?
They didn't utilize him.
And then again, I think they made him like, oh, I love Deadpool and I'm kind of gay for him, but Deadpool doesn't really return it because then we shift the gay over to Dopinder, so he looks like a queer bro, and it's off of Wade.
I guess.
I just feel like this whole movie was just like had that kind of stink on it,
Well, I didn't really buy how like Dopinder was like, I want to be an assassin.
Well, they had to give him something to do.
I know.
They should just let him go. Why was he in the film? Just let him go. Let him be free.
I know. Let him be an assassin or what have you. I don't know.
Does he still have his meeting?
His meeting?
I don't know. I wrote that in my notes. Does he still have his meeting?
What meeting?
Oh, so after... Oh, here's something else that I kind of liked. Oh, okay. It's all coming back.
Okay.
It was all stacked.
Sure.
Juggernaut's in it.
Yeah, Juggernaut is in it.
Now, this drives a wedge, in my opinion, into what's going on. And, of course, the rules of the meta sort of aspects of it, which is we get... Okay, so Deadpool, the comic character, knows he's in a comic.
Yes.
Fine. Deadpool, the movie character, knows he's in a movie and calls out movie tropes,
yes.
And talks about, okay, well, now we're back in this scene or whatever. But it's not, they don't ever explicitly reference comics because why would you? It's a different universe. We don't worry about it. Yeah, it comes from a comic, but don't worry about that. He makes a lot of comic references in this, and they all land like lead balloons, in my opinion. Like, I don't understand why they suddenly needed to, unless to just up their geek cred with like the audience, just literally reference a specific, oh, Juggernaut, you were in this issue and that issue and that issue, when you've got the perfect thing to reference, and it's Vinnie Jones as the Juggernaut in the horrible X-Men The Last Stand.
Right.
They didn't even touch that at all.
No, they didn't.
And I don't know if it's because Fox is like, don't make fun of our movies, or they felt like they couldn't get the character over by referencing like a bad version of the character. And we're all sick of I'm the Juggernaut bitch, for sure.
Right.
But if anybody could try to squeeze one last drop of something out of I'm the Juggernaut bitch, Wade Wilson.
Yeah.
And I read an article and they're like, yeah, we just decided to kind of like start over with like the Juggernaut. You're not start over. You're a guy who says I'm Batman 30 years after Batman.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
You know who played Juggernaut?
Who played Juggernaut?
Ryan Reynolds.
Really?
It was his voice pitched down, and I don't know if he did mocap, but yeah, I mean, CGI character, but
that's cool.
Saved a lot of money there. But his meeting.
Yes.
After he's shot to death. Oh, and then so Russell's burning everybody, and he burns in threes. This happens twice in the film. You've got three characters who are like at the beginning when Wade is there as an X-Man trainee.
Right. That didn't go over like a lead balloon.
Keep hitting that joke.
Yep.
Keep doing it, and it'll be funny eventually. And everybody does it. People who weren't even there.
Yep.
For the conversation. So funny. But anyway, you must stop this. Oh, Colossus somehow is moved by fire. Oh, hey kid, I'm a lesbian. Oh, now Wade does, and then they do it at the end too. Wade gets hit by the fire. Nobody else is burned, but Wade's outfit is burned, and it's burned like with ash, so it's like black and white, which made me think they were kind of doing like the X-Force Deadpool uniform from the comics, like the
okay.
black and white. Which,
All
if it's a reference, it's like, all right, fine. But anyway, after Cable uses his time machine to stupidly go back 5 minutes and shoot.
I know.
Well, I can't stop myself from shooting. I know that. Does what he just didn't want to do, but he does. Then he stops Deadpool from dying. We see before that Deadpool, who has a really long death scene, which I guess I'll give him that.
I guess.
I mean, I don't understand why he's not dying. If he's really... I thought he was faking or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, you got to give Deadpool a long death scene. So he finally gets to meet Vanessa in the afterlife. Does he still get to meet her? Because that was the emotional closure of that storyline!
Yeah.
Does he get to have that still?
Probably not.
Does the afterlife exist outside of time so he still gets closure with his dead girlfriend? Or is he robbed of that and still suicidal because that was the entire film? He wanted to kill himself so he could be with his girlfriend.
Yes.
And by saving his life, you kept that from happening.
Yes.
You dumb half-metal cockknocker. That was the whole thing.
Yes.
The ending was perfect. He got exactly what he... No, we can't have a 3 without Deadpool, clearly.
Right.
But he got what he wanted. Russell felt bad. He won't become the Rainmaker or whatever.
Right.
Still in that too. It's just the whole movie stolen from other movies. And then I understand why Cable did it, but it basically precipitates them having to erase the whole thing.
Yep.
Here's something else that you can erase the whole thing. Crumple, crumple, the sound of papers crumpling. You throw your script away and write a new one.
Well, also, like, he makes himself explode, and then Colossus presumably collects the pieces, and he puts them back together.
Yeah, in the film, we have this really... Okay, so I read an article because Polygon is really caping for Deadpool for some reason, Polygon.com. I just mostly think it's because these sites live off of clicks, and so when something comes out, you have to write 18 think pieces about it, and you really wring it out.
Mm-hmm.
They've wrung it out 3 days after release. There's one article by Ben Kuchera, who I thought had more journalistic standards in this, but he says, you can take your kids to Deadpool too, and here's all the reasons why.
Why?
They aren't good reasons, so I shall not repeat them here.
Okay.
There's another article that's like, Deadpool accidentally steals a joke from Rick and Morty. I'm like, accidentally, sure. And it's the scene where he's got baby legs. Now, everybody on the planet has seen Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, and I guess we'll just do it now, they're getting 70 more episodes. They just announced a deal with Adult Swim. So we've all seen Detective Baby Legs. That's the sound that he makes when he runs. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe it was accidental, and the article goes to great 5 paragraphs to get them off the hook for basically ripping off that joke. But it doesn't matter if you did it on purpose or not. You are cutting-edge comedy. You are comedy that comments on comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be accidentally ripping off a joke from 4 years ago.
No.
That shouldn't be happening.
No.
It doesn't matter whether you didn't mean to do it or not.
Right.
You should be more on the zeitgeist than that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you've seen that Rick and Morty episode.
Right.
You basically probably make other Rick and Morty references in the film.
Yeah.
Get me out of this. So anyway, sorry, the original point was I was going somewhere with that. In that scene, it's just basically child pornography combined with, looks like Reese and Wernick reached shirt cocking in the Urban Dictionary, and that's what the whole scene's like based on.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it.
Yeah. Pretty much. And smooth little baby legs.
So I'm Batman. What? Oh, so okay, no. I keep getting lost in my own rants. So now we're going to bring it back in again.
Okay.
Maximum effort. The whole reason they're doing that is because he lost his legs.
Yeah. Like
And
they
the first,
put
as
him
a
back
fan
together?
of the comic character, the first thing I thought was, well, I can't wait to see him fight himself in Deadpool 3 because the legs will grow a body.
Yes.
And you go, well, it doesn't work that way. But it does. And you pointed this out. It does because he's a freaking head in the first scene.
Yes.
So clearly at some point, Colossus sticks him back together.
Yes.
And they could have done that with the legs.
Yes.
But they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to see him fight himself in Deadpool 3.
And I hope that comes true.
double the bad jokes.
Yes.
If anybody asks why this movie's bad, you can just point out those technical details. You can say, I'm Batman. Or you can say that it doesn't understand or respect the first film by having him go to Blind Al's apartment, pull up the floorboards, and there are 2 keys of Coke and a box that says the cure for blindness on it.
I know.
Yes, that was a joke that he made in the first film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have to, all it is, I guess that's a callback that ruins the original joke.
Well, you could say it doesn't have any legs.
Hey, they're looking for people to write Deadpool 3. So. Yeah, well, anyway, Wade's still here. Wade doesn't look too happy.
How can you tell through the mask?
Wow, well, I don't know what I expected from a bunch of Marvel fanboys.
You're a Marvel character.
Enjoy your check from Disney.
There we go.
Guess I'll just go back in time to an earlier time where I'm appreciated.
And then Drax calls her a green whore.
I know, it's not problematic in any way.
Feliz Navidad, bitcherinos!
Whoa, Daredevil, a Deadpool.
Hey kids, say your school, stay in vitamins, and eat your prayers. And remember, time is a flat circle. Huh? Oh, did I come too far back?
We don't have HBO.
Oh, wow. Don't get too attached to Rob Stark then. Well, back to the Riviera in 55 to tickle the ivories with Liberace.
I hope he means play the piano, but what are the chances, really?
Do you think his testicles are smooth? Like, it's an inversion?
They probably look like 2 little Ryan Reynolds faces.
Oh, this is the kind of talk that he would have loved.
Are we still in the bit? Are we going back to the future?
Why bother?
From 4 C's, rolling in MPVs. Every week we make 40 G's. Yo, nigga, respect my nigga to check notch. Bow, move from the gate now. Fast move everything.
So there you go. Do you find that you can just... Do you find that you have more to say about bad movies than good movies?
Sometimes,
Like,
yeah.
here's my review of Black Panther. That was good.
Yeah. Right. It was
Good.
a good movie.
I wish that he went...
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, I wish that he was a cat more, but I can't think of anything else to say about the film. I think its strengths are self-evident. It's very few flaws we've talked about. Mm-hmm. I feel like I should say more. And then one comes across the plate that's like, all right, what was that? Let's talk.
Right.
I got a lot to say.
Right.
I guess that's the nature of criticism.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. While I'm exploring it in my new feature, it's a print feature that you can find. Why do we call it print still? It's a text, because that sounds dumb. It's a print feature that you can find on our website at justenoughtrope.com called Help, I Can't Like Things. And, I mean, this show will always, of course, be, we'll just conjure green sticks and beat that green horse along with Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. But it goes on and on. But these will be short, sort of, not reviews necessarily, but looks at things that are generally in recent pop culture, but I might go back a little bit and talk about, like, I just don't, here's something that everybody likes, and I don't. And I want to be cured of this.
Right.
I want to know if I'm crazy. I want to know if, like, I've got it wrong. Or if I'm right, but who cares? I was at a church picnic once.
Okay.
And I was a precocious child.
Mm-hmm.
And there were flies on the meat. Now, this is something you're
Okay.
going to run into at a barbecue sometimes. It's
Sure.
not really a big deal. But somebody said, like, oh, there's flies on the meat. And the pastor's wife said, well, they're very small. They only take a little bit. It's fine. And I said, you know, flies throw up on their food, and then they suck up the digested food through their proboscis. And she said, no one needed to know that. So this is basically me throwing up on pop culture. Hold on, I got to change the art. And sucking it back up. And here's your opportunity to say, no one needed to know that.
No one needs to know that.
So
but
you can check out
wow.
this column, Help, I Can't Like Things, on the website. And yeah, give it to me. Open fire. If I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right, but not too much. I'll get a big head. Speaking of big heads, Chewbacca's got one and did it. And we're going to have a review of the next real iffy kind of, it's like the Millennium Falcon. It started off, I wasn't sure, but then flew the Kessel Run. We'll see. It's the next big we'll see. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Or the next big help I can't like things column. And we'll have a review of it on the next show. And we'll talk about some Star Wars, too.
Yeah.
And here's something that we have gotten away from, and we got to get back. We got to get it back. And that is reviewing and examining our favorite things. Movies, comics, TV shows, literature, albums.
Sure.
You went to a Lizzo concert and didn't tell us about it at all.
You're-
No time now.
Okay.
But anyway, and so we'll be back doing that on the next show. It's going to be a long show, but we'll fit it all in somehow. And I want to revisit something that I actually covered last year, but you didn't get a chance to. But because Sci-Fi, the network, which is not to be named, is developing a TV version of it, I want to make sure we've covered it.
Okay.
And that's also a great comic. It's called Deadly Class.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the first trade of Deadly Class, which is, did I describe it as like the Xavier School for Assassins? Be like, what if Harry Potter was a
did.
murderer? That
Right.
is Deadly Class.
Okay.
And so we'll be reading that, talking about it, and unearthing the tropes from it, as is our mandate and our namesake. Until then, you can find us on all the good places like Facebook and Twitter. I say good, but they'll know whether you've been there or not. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and all podcast places. And if you search for Just Enough Trip, you can find us. While you're there, subscribe to the show. It's the best way to get the show. And we come right to your inbox as soon as it's ready. Also, leave us a review if you could, because we love hearing from the fans and hearing what you want us to cover next. And leave us a rating at the very least. We'd appreciate it. It really helps us move up in those ranks and reach more people. So give us 5
Dopenders.
I
don't know.
Wow. I like that his arc was like, oh, are we out of spoilers now? Anyway. 5 underused characters. Was it Karen Sony or whatever his name is? Like, felt like he was in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And now he's just Dopender.
Yeah,
So
I know.
run! Run, boy! Get out of there! Big Bang's going to be back for a few years, right? You got to be able
Yeah.
you could snag something on there.
Sure.
Come on. Anyway, forget it. Yeah, give us 5 stars so we don't have to deal with that. Like I said, Solo, a Star Wars story on the next show, so tune in for that. And until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.